Hello and welcome to video number 200 on Travel with a Wise Guy. Never thought I would get this far along on this channel, but it's been a lot of fun over the last few years, and I thought for number 200 I would take the opportunity to answer some questions. I get lots of questions in the comments, and a few weeks ago I asked for some questions for a Q&A, so let's get started. What was the most unique, best, or surprising place that you've stayed? And not including Route 66. So that's from Travis. Travis is one of the best commenters and supportive people on YouTube. Every video you're going to see comments from Travis. So thanks, Travis, for the question. You know, I stayed in a lot of terrific hotels, and I usually don't put those on the video because usually it's about the town or the place I'm staying. But a couple that I stayed in that weren't on Route 66. Route 66 has great hotels all along the way. But on US 89, the last two nights, I stayed at the White Stallion Ranch, and that was in middle of Arizona, and then that was great, staying on a ranch for a night. And then the final leg of that trip, after I had got the trip done, I went to Tombstone, the famous Tombstone, Arizona, and I stayed in a miner's cabin that was just walking distance from the historic downtown of Tombstone. So those were two really cool ones. They were actually back to back. I usually stay in pretty inexpensive, low maintenance hotels, so they're not always the nicest places, but as long as they're clean and they have good water pressure in the shower and a nice towel is an added bonus. Those are the three things that I look for. If they have those three things, I'm happy. How do you pick your videos? That's a tough question. Sometimes I do research and I have places I really want to go, maybe like Pitcher, Oklahoma, or a ghost town that I've heard of, or certainly when I do a road trip, I'm gonna be researching the places along the way. And sometimes I just find them as I go. I'll decide to go for a couple days in a certain place, and I'll get a map and I'll just start looking and see what comes out. So there's never really an overall big plan as the places I find, but I do try to find, online. I look them up and I see what there might be. I use Google Earth a lot to see what might still be there, and if something looks interesting, then I try to go. Will you make any more slushy videos? Well, some of you probably are wondering, what in the heck is that person talking about? And I used to, at the beginning of the channel, when I didn't have any clue what I was doing, I was trying to do one video every week. And I didn't have enough video to fill up a video every week. And so, in order to accomplish my goal of one video every week for a year, I just had to do random stuff. And I like frozen beverages. And I thought it would be a good way to include some of my friends. So early on, I made a dozen slushie review videos where I rated slushies with a friend. We would go drive somewhere. It was all, comedic in nature, and it was a lot of fun. But as I got the channel going and figured out what I was doing, I stopped doing those videos, kind of have retired them. I actually took them off the channel. They're unlisted, but if you go to the playlist section of the channel page on YouTube, there's all the slushy reviews there. So if you ever want to go back and look at all the slushy reviews, go to the playlist, they're in there. Why don't you interview more locals? Well, I try to interview people when I go to some of these towns, but understand a lot of the places I go, there are no locals. There's literally hardly anyone living there. And then a lot of times, people don't want to be interviewed. And so, they'll respectfully decline. And, but I've had the occasion to have a couple of terrific interviews. Monowai, Nebraska with Elsie Eiler was great. And Loving County, I had a terrific interview there. So I definitely like talking to locals, and I do talk to them every time I can, but they're usually pretty shy to be on camera. How do you do YouTube and balance a full-time job? And for those of you that don't know, I do have a full-time job. I'm a track and field coach. This is my office here at Wichita State. And that's, 90% of my world is coaching track and field. I'm a little bit hoarse if you can't tell, because I'm in the middle of the track season. We just got back from Florida, getting ready to go to California, and it's busy time. It's a really, really busy time. And so how do I balance that? And what I do is I usually try to film many, many videos at once, and then I release them periodically throughout the year. And so I'm trying to do 2 videos per week. If you're a follower of the channel, you know, on Thursdays and Sundays is when I release the videos. And I'm releasing videos now that I may have filmed months ago. And anytime I have a little break, I'll take a road trip for a few days or maybe even a couple weeks if I have maybe the summer or the Christmas break. And I try to film as much as I can and then kind of stockpile those videos and then just release them, edit them throughout the year, and then release them as I go. Every once in a while, I'll try to get out on the weekend. And if I have a free weekend, like I just got done with practice and I have a little bit of today left and tomorrow that's free, so I'm going to get on the road and I'm going to go see a few places. It's a little bit hard to keep up the pace of 2 videos per week with a full-time job, but anytime I'm ever thinking, don't know if I want to get out there, don't know if I'm going to keep up that pace, whenever I actually go somewhere and visit somewhere I've never been, I'm so glad that I did. And so it kind of has forced me to get out there more often and visit places that I wouldn't have if I just thought, I'll just relax this weekend on the couch and watch some, you know, sports or something. And so I'm really glad that I have that goal of 2 weeks of 2 videos per week, and has really helped me enjoy this process even more. How do you handle negative comments? I put negative comments, first of all, 90-something% of the comments are positive, and I really thank everyone for commenting. There's people that comment every single video, and I love it. I love reading them. I try to respond as much as I possibly can. But there are some people that put some negative comments on there, and I put the negative comments into 2 categories. I would say there's the person who is maybe trying to give some constructive criticism, and it comes off, you know, doesn't come off the greatest. Or there's people that are just jerks. And the people who are just jerks, I just put, laughing emoji at LOL. I never use LOL in any other form of life. I never do it in texting with friends. But when somebody just puts a ridiculous comment, I just put LOL. Because what are you going to do? You know, laugh it off. I don't delete the comment or anything. I just laugh at it. And then if somebody just kind of has a kind of a harsh comment, I am listening. I'm open to criticism. I've been a coach for 25 years. I've been criticized my entire life. So it doesn't bother me a bit if someone has some constructive criticism that might come off the wrong way. And then I usually try to positively engage that person, and usually they respond again and thanking me for the response. What is the favorite place you've traveled? It's really tough because I've been to 20 plus countries. I've been to all but 2 states. Alaska and Hawaii are the 2. I'm going to hit those next year. And it's really difficult because I've loved visiting some of these places, but if I had to pick one place, the most unique and the most, enjoyable experience I ever had was at Easter Island. And I spent, a few days there on one of the most remote places in the world, and it was beautiful and just a experience like none other. I made a video about it early on. As one of the first videos I ever posted on this channel. And so Easter Island probably gets the win. What drone and editing software do you use? So drone is a big part of what I do in my videos. I think it helps maybe set these videos apart from other people that just drive around to some of the small towns. It gives you a perspective. So I'm really glad I have the drone and learned how to use it. And so I have a DJI Mavic Pro 2, and I've had that for a couple years. At first, I had a really cheap drone that I bought at like Walmart or something, and then I stepped up, and the Mavic Pro 2 is a really, really terrific drone. I do recommend that if you're doing YouTube and you're starting to make some money from YouTube, that you get your Part 107 license. I've never been asked for it or anything like that, but I think it's good to have, and you do learn some things. You got to take a test and all that, but you can just Google that. There's a lot of great study guides online, so I'd recommend you do that if you are using a drone. And then editing software, it's real basic. I have an iPhone, and iMovie is the software. It seems pretty simple when you're looking at it, but actually it's a pretty powerful app. And everything that you see, I edit on iMovie. I do a little bit with Photoshop with a few of the graphics that I might insert there, but most everything is done on iMovie. Are you going to see the movie Killers of the Flower Moon with your recent stories from that area? When I went down to that area in Oklahoma at Fairfax and Gray Horse, I was really fascinated by that whole history of what happened there. And I was not really aware. I heard they may be shooting a film about that whole deal. And then I realized, oh my gosh, this is starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro. I was like, wow, this is a big movie. And it turns out this is going to be a huge movie that's supposed to open up in October. And it's based on this book that I've got here, Killers of the Flower Moon. And so reading the book right now, it's really good. And I'm super excited to check out the movie for sure. It'll be interesting to see. I filmed those videos and I referenced that story, but I didn't, talk about the movie that much, or that they were making a movie. So it'll be curious when that movie comes out. It's going to be a huge hit, I'm sure. Will the videos I made get people more interested in those areas? Because there's more of a historical perspective of those towns than anything else. So be curious to see what happens. How much money do you make on YouTube? That's a little bit of an awkward question to ask people how much money they make. But I'll answer it in this way. I don't make a lot. I can tell you when you get to 1,000 subscribers, which is the minimum that you need to be at to start making some money, you're literally making $1 or $2 a day. And so it's not very much. Now that I'm around 14,000, it's certainly better. And you get almost 1 penny per view. It's something in the fraction of a penny per view if you want to do the math and you start looking at different videos and how much each video might make. And now what it's doing, instead of maybe paying for a tank of gas on a trip, it's starting to pay for the trips. And that's really nice. I'm not in any way making a lot of money on this. I think you probably have to have something in the neighborhood of 50,000 subscribers to have a decent revenue stream to support yourself. I'm also not doing anything else. I don't have Patreon. I don't have merchandise. I'm only making some money off the ads that you see in the videos. And so I'm sure there would be, I could make more if I wanted, but there's, like I said, I coach and track every day, and it's not the focus is to not make a lot of money right now. I'm just enjoying making the videos, and it is nice that I'm able to start paying for some of the travel that I do. Can I support you financially? I really appreciate that question. As of now, the best way to support what I'm doing is just to watch the videos. I do think if you like the videos, that helps it, because the way the algorithm works is that you like the videos, the more likes it gets, the more times it gets shared and viewed, the more views it'll get, and that is a way that the pennies trickle in. Maybe in the future I'll do something different. Maybe I'll add something to it. And I'll, if I do, I'll certainly talk about that. It's not something I plan on doing much in the next near future. I have had some conversations about maybe a t-shirt or something like that if people want to buy a t-shirt, but nothing is going to get rich over. But stay tuned. But right now, like the video, and if you think that other people might like this kind of stuff, share it with your friends. And if you think a lot of people might like it, then you could put it on your social media. That'd be the way to support things right now. Where are you going for your summer road trip? Well, so I have decided. I've been getting that question a lot, and I'm getting ready to start my 4th road trip that I'll be documenting on the channel. I started with Route 66. That was my first one I ever did. My second one, I did US 89 from Canada to Mexico. That was awesome. My third one last year was the Oregon Trail. Spectacular, educational, historical, scenic, all that rolled into one. It was awesome. And so what I've decided to do this year is, I guess you would call it half of the full road trip, but I'm going to do the western half of US 50, and that's going to be from Kansas to California. US 50 is the road that goes right through the middle of the country. It goes from the East Coast to the West Coast. And me being in Kansas here, I thought, well, I'd start here and I would head west. So it's going to go from Kansas into Colorado, and then into Utah, and then into Nevada, where it's called the loneliest road in America, which I'm fascinated and very interested about that, and then ends up in California. So that's going to be my summer road trip. Going to take a couple weeks exploring that. And then, like I kind of mentioned earlier with how do I shoot videos, I'm sure there'll be some side trips that I'm going to find and create a bunch of videos from that one trip. Last thing I just want to mention is if you like this and you like, if you're really into the stuff I'm making videos about, there are other ways to follow me. In the description of this video, I'm going to put a lot of stuff, but a few of the things, I write a blog once a month where I talk very detailedly about some of the behind the scenes thing. I'm going to be talking about my summer road trip in there. I'll be giving exact kind of day by day locations of where I'm going to go. Instagram is another one. If I'm traveling, I'm going to post some photos on Instagram kind of while I'm there. I'm on Facebook. I usually post some photos on there of kind of upcoming places that I'm going to be featuring on the YouTube channel. And then I'm also on Twitter, but that's mostly track and field stuff. I do put some travel stuff there, but it's mostly focused on track and field. But a lot of places to follow. I really appreciate the support. I never would have thought this channel would grow to what it has today, and I'm looking forward to continuing on this journey.